Okay, so continuing right along, boys and girls. So now we're going to take a look at volume. Now this is something that we've never looked at before. And volume is length times width times height. So what volume actually is? Length times width equals area. So it's the area times the height. Okay, so we're going to take a look at that. So here I have made our volume, our base, very dark so you can see it. And we can see the length, here's the length as well, is 5 centimeters. We can see the width is 4 centimeters. And here we go again. So here we go. The length times the width is 25 times 4 equals 20 centimeters squared. Now we know that that base is 20 centimeters squared. Now we're going to take 20 centimeters squared times the height. Here's the height. The height is 10 centimeters. 20 times 10 equals 200 centimeters. But instead of putting a 2 there this time, we're going to add a 3. It's cubed. So I'm going to come over here. So our volume, if you look over here, boys and girls, on the paper, our volume is length times width times the height, which is 5 times 4 again equals 20 centimeters squared. And 20 centimeters squared times 10 equals 200 centimeters cubed. Okay. Now, boys and girls, we're going to take a look at one more thing. So I found a box. And this is the box I bring to school with my wonderful hand cream in it. I turned it inside out. I glued it together to show you the volume. So here you can see it's 5.5 centimeters. Oops. On this side. Oops. Turn this around. There we go. Times 4. What is 5.5 times 4? 22 centimeters squared. But the height is 11 centimeters. So 22 centimeters squared times 11 equals 242 centimeters cubed. Cubed is with the number 3. Now, the last thing we're going to do, what happens if I'm going to try to pull it apart. I glued it pretty well in there. Wow. I really did glue it well. There we go. Ah, it's not too bad. Now I'm going to take it all apart. There. And that, boys and girls, is a net. Now we can tuck that in. We can tuck that in. Tuck that in. So you will be making a net. And I encourage you to find boxes in your house and take them apart and see how they managed to make a net. Okay, now we're going to go to our whiteboard. Boys and girls, this week you will be building a 3D city on a coordinate plane. That just means on a coordinate grid. So I'm really excited. The first thing, you will be creating 3D buildings. But before you get to that, you want to first create the big sheet of paper like I showed you in my video with the coordinate grid on it. So you're going to draw a huge graph. You're going to put all the numbers like I did, 1 to 14 or 1 to 10, and then from -1 to -10, the X and Y axis, all of that. Okay, so, and this is what a coordinate grid looks like right here. So this is what you will be making, a huge graph that has all of those numbers on it. Okay, so now we're just going to continue here. Here's a net, an example of a net that they've given you so that it'll be a little bit easier for you to draw your buildings. Okay, so step number 1, we've already talked about that. You're going to get a huge piece of paper. You can either go to the dollar store, buy a huge poster board, and draw the grid on it, or sometimes at the dollar store they sell huge pieces of paper with a grid already on it, so you can do that as well. Okay, so we'll just come on down here, and step number 2. So it says here at 1, 3, 1, 3. Those are coordinates, boys and girls. So at 1, 3, create the Capitol building for your city. It should have a volume of 30 cubic inches. They wrote here 30 cubic inches. But boys and girls, we know that the very same thing, it equals 30 inches cubed. But there's a little tiny 3 up there. And unfortunately, it's not putting a little 3 there for us. So we're going to come back here. So it just means the volume. So let's take a look here, 1 and 3. Now we remember that we always start on our x-axis. So let's take a look. So if we see 1, so here's 1. Now we have to find 3. So 1, and then we look up on our y-axis, 3. So that is the point that you are going to put your Capitol building. So, and then you're going to make sure that you have a box, a rectangular prism that is going to be 30 cubic inches. So remember, the length and the width and the height are all going to equal 30. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these but maybe I'll just go through the first one. Now you're going to draw a 1/2 inch wide highway that circles the city. But look here, it has to go through points 7 and 7, -7 and 7, -7 and -7, and 7 and -7. Okay, let's look at just the first 2 coordinates here. So it has to go through 7 and 7. So that's pretty easy. So how about I do this one with you? So this highway has to go through -7, 7. So let's look where -7 and 7 are. So we're going to start with our x. Always start with our x. And here we see there's -7. And now we're going to go down our y. Here's -7. -7 and -7. There we go. So your road has to go over that point. So start with your big piece of paper, either drawing the grid or buying the grid at the dollar store. And then I would start to put points on your map. I'd start by putting 1 and 3, and here's the highway. There's a pond here at 5 and 6, so you'll need to put that on your grid. So those are things that you can start with. I'm really excited to see your projects. Remember that there are some assignments, some workbooks that I've put with lots of 3D shapes, rectangular shapes that you can practice. So have fun, and I will see you all on Wednesday. Tuesday is your reading circles, and Wednesday I will see you for our Google Meet, and we'll talk more about your city. Okay, bye for now. Talk to you soon.